Morgan Stanley doesn't panic. They don't run headlines, they run numbers. And right now, their numbers say something most people aren't ready to hear. A breakthrough is coming, first half of this year, and the world isn't built for it. That's where we're going to start today, so please stay with me. Morgan Stanley fires a warning shot. Big bank, sober institution. It's not a hype machine. They just dropped a sweeping report, and the headline is simple. Transformative AI is arriving faster than anybody has prepared for. They're pointing at compute accumulation at the top labs. They're citing Sam Altman's vision of 1 to 5 person companies that outcompete large incumbents. And they're citing XAI co-founder Jimmy Ba, who says recursive self-improvement loops where AI upgrades itself without any human prompting could arrive as early as the first half of next year. I think they already have it. Not 10 years, not 5, but next year. Again, I think it's already here. The economic angle is one that hits hardest. Morgan Stanley is calling AI a deflationary force, meaning AI replicates human work at a fraction of the cost. Executives are already executing large-scale workforce reductions because of it. Not because they want to, but because the math demands it. The coin of the realm, their words, is becoming pure intelligence, forged by compute and power. That's not a technology story anymore. That's an infrastructure story, an economic story, a civilian story. Meta's avocado model gets pushed. Meta had a next generation model in the pipeline, codenamed Avocado. It was supposed to drop soon. Internal benchmarks showed it underperforming rivals, and now it's been pushed to at least May 2026. That's only a couple months away. This is actually important data. The race isn't just about speed of release. The gap between the frontier labs and everyone else is real. If Meta can't ship a competitive model on schedule, that tells you something about how hard it is to stay in the game. Vietnam passes an AI law. Not the biggest story of the day, but worth noting. Vietnam's National Assembly just passed national AI legislation. Rules governing development, supply, and use of AI technologies. The stated goal is expanding the digital economy while managing the risk. This is the global wave. Every nation is trying to rewrite, right for the first time, the rule book. The ones who get it right early will have a structural advantage. The ones who get it wrong will spend the next decade undoing it. Stanford drops a jobs number. The Cypher SIEPR Summit published findings this week. Entry-level software developer hiring is down 20%. Try to say that 3 times. Call center jobs down 15% already. Not projected, happening now. Economists at Stanford are flagging widening inequality as a consequence. The people getting replaced aren't the ones who can pivot easy. They're the part nobody wants to say out loud. That's what it is. We say it here. Google Maps gets AI surgery. Google rolled out a major upgrade to Maps this week. They're calling it Ask Maps. This is great. A Gemini Power conversational feature. You stop typing keywords. You start asking questions in plain language. And on top of that, a fully redesigned 3D immersive navigation experience. Real-time road details, natural voice guidance. Think about what this means at local businesses. When somebody asks Google Maps to find me a home for sale in Santa Clarita with a view, the answer they get is going to look completely different than what it looked like 6 months ago. AI is reorganizing how people find things, including houses, including agents, including you. OpenClaw, the most important project most people haven't heard of. In January 2026, an open source project called OpenClaw went from one developer's side project and side hustle to 68,000 GitHub stars almost overnight. By early March, it became the most starred project on GitHub, beating out React, beating out Linux. OpenAI acquired it in February. They bought it. The reason why this matters, OpenClaw is agentic AI, agentic artificial intelligence. It's not a chatbot, not a model that answers questions, a system that takes actions, interacts with real software, completes tasks without handholding. It still requires terminal knowledge to run, hence it's a little cumbersome, and it's a little bit of a learning curve to get it put together, but it is what it is. So because of that reason, it hasn't crossed into the mainstream consumer use yet. But when OpenAI ships a consumer-grade version of this, and they will probably within very short order, that's going to change the game for everyone. Elon admits XAI was built wrong. His words are close to them, at least. XAI lost 10 of 12 co-founders. Now they're hiring Cursor's top engineers to close the gap with Claude Code and Codex, trying to play catch up. That tells you two things. Number one, the coding AI wars are intensifying. Two, engineering talent is the bottleneck. It's not compute. This segment's going to be called token cost for a reason, because nobody else is doing the math in public. And I'm going to mess up on one in particular word that I should have researched more, and here we go. And on this, the math matters. GPT 5.4 Thinking just posted an 83% score on GDP Val's benchmark, at or above human expert level on economically valuable tasks. That's the model. Now let's talk about what it costs to use it. OpenAI's pricing on their flagship reasoning tier right now sits at roughly $15 per million input tokens, $60 per million output tokens on their top-end reasoning models. That's the Cadillac, that's their model. Claude, Anthropic's Sonnet tier, which is what most builders are actually running production on, is coming in around $3 for input and $15 output per million tokens. And Anthropic just committed $100 million to their Claude partner network. Bring in Accenture, Dell OIT, and Cognizant. That's an enterprise play. They're gunning for the corporate default position. Gemini 3.1 Pro, Google's most advanced Pro model as of February, is sitting at 1 million token context window, 77% on Arc AGI2. Pricing is competitive with Claude mid-range tiers. Here's the real-world translation. If you're running an AI voice agent, like the ones I build through HireAIVoice.com, the model is only one piece of the stack. You got inference cost, telephone cost, orchestration layer sitting on top, a well-built agent for local businesses. When I put them together, we don't need GPT 5.4 Thinking. You're overpaying for it if that's what you're running for inbound calls. The smart operators match the model to the task. Lightweight models for routing and triage, heavy models for high-stakes decisions only. That's the token cost reality, March 14th, 2026. Anthropic drops $100 million on enterprise. This was a little bit of the story before, talking about tokens. The Claude Partner Network launched this week with a $100 million committed Accenture, Cognizant, and Dell Deloitte. Deloitte. These are the firms that sit inside the world's largest corporations and tell them what to buy. Anthropic just bought distribution. That's what this is. For anybody building on Claude right now, this is a tailwind. When the big consulting firms are recommending Claude as the default enterprise AI platform, the demand for Claude integrated tools goes up. That's the market you want to be swimming in front of and be ready. A16Z publishes the Consumer AI Rankings. The March 2026 Top 100 Consumer AI Apps report is out, and the key data, ChatGPT is still 2.7 times larger than the number 2 spot on web traffic. Weekly active users hit 900 million. That's more than 10% of the planet using it every week. But the category is widening. Both Gemini and Claude are showing acceleration in U.S. usage. Vibe coding platforms, Replit, Lovable, Cursor, Claude Code are going in revenue even as traffic growth slows. The shift, the report flags, AI is moving from a destination to a feature. People are using it inside tools they already use. That changes how you reach them. The one-person company is no longer theoretical. Sam Altman has been saying this. The Morgan Stanley report backs it up. A company of 1 to 5 people, fully augmented, can now outcompete organizations that employ hundreds. We're watching this play out in real estate already. One agent, sellers only, AI handling the lead capture, nurture sequence, follow-up, market analysis. The content, that's not the future. That's my build right now at honorelevate.com. GTC kicks off Monday. NVIDIA's GPU Technology Conference starts March 16th in San Jose. 30,000 attendees from 190 countries. If anybody has a couple extra tickets, I'm here. Jensen Huang takes the stage at SAP Center, 11 a.m. Pacific. What to watch for? The Rubin Generation GPU reveal, the Nemo Claw open source agent platform. And whatever Jensen means when he says they prepared a chip that's going to surprise the world. Whatever indeed. That's a strong claim from someone who doesn't make strong claims casually. NVIDIA's thesis heading into GTC is what Jensen calls the 5-layer cake. Energy, chips, infrastructure, models, applications. All 5 have to scale together. NVIDIA touches every layer. That's the argument for why they're the most valuable company on the planet right now. AI is becoming an energy story. Meta is planning layoffs to redirect capital towards massive AI infrastructure. AI data center power demands is raising real concerns about the grid. Wall Street brokerages are projecting the Fed starts cutting rates mid-2026, just in time, partly in response to economic pressure from the pace of AI spending. Larry Fink at BlackRock said it plainly this week. The AI investment race will produce corporate bankruptcies, companies over-leveraging on data centers and AI infrastructure. He called it a natural feature of capitalism. That's not bearish on AI, that's just acknowledging that a wave this big creates wreckage on the way through. ByteDance is buying NVIDIA chips overseas. Reports are surfacing that TikTok's parent company is planning a major overseas development of NVIDIA's newest chips. This is a geopolitical layer of the AI story. Chinese tech firms finding pathways to the compute they need. Export restrictions create pressure. Pressure creates ingenuity. Watch this one, please. Here's something I thought was worth talking about, maybe a lot. Palantir's CEO goes after Anthropic. Alec Karp was direct this week and publicly criticized Anthropic for what he called reluctance to work with the U.S. Department of Defense. And of course, by that, he's kissing up, but I get it. His argument, AI companies that refuse government defense contracts are undermining national security. It's a strong statement, worth watching how Anthropic responds. If they do, this is the tension that defines the next chapter of AI governance. Who does this technology serve? Who gets to decide? And what obligations come with building something this powerful? Vietnam joined the legislative wave. As mentioned in my top segment, Vietnam is now law in. The global regulatory patchwork is forming quickly. The EU has its framework. U.S. states are legislating. Now Southeast Asia is moving. For anybody building AI products, the compliance layer is becoming a real cost center. Not someday, but now. Morgan Stanley says the shock is coming. Stanford says the jobs are already moving. NVIDIA says they got a chip that will surprise the world. Most people are watching this from the sideline. You're not. You're watching this show. Every day you show up, you learn something real, you put it to work. You're not just staying ahead. You're becoming the person your market comes to when they're confused and scared and don't know who to trust. That's the edge. It's not a tool. That's a reputation. Check out honorelevate.com, my system. That's where work lives, and we'll see you tomorrow. I'm AI with Honor, the daily download. This is March 15th, 2026. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.